Woo! Cow cow! Welcome back to Warzone Workshop. Today we got this package in the mail. Nice and earthy. I like it. Go ahead and take a look at what's inside. And it is... Excuse me. Involuntary mooing. That can only mean one thing. These are from Cow Cow. These are some custom parts. Let's see what we got today. We got a custom G trigger. That must mean Glock trigger. A custom Glock trigger we will be installing today on this WeTech Glock 17. I already have a Poseidon Cyclops sight on it, and it has a stock attached to it. Other than that, everything inside it is bone stock, unmodified. So we will begin with disassembly, and we will be working on this Glock 17 today, putting a nice custom trigger in it. So let's go ahead and disassemble. Magazine's out, stock's removed. This is for airsoft only. Just remember that whenever you pick up stuff like that. It attaches right here into the back of the pistol grip, just like that. And this one has a spring-loaded lock that locks it in. I have two of these. The other one I have, the lock thing is missing, so it's just a bit of extra tape so you force it up in there. But it's just for looks. It's a wall hanging thing. It doesn't actually stay in very well. This one does. So this is not something I've ever used in game, but if I was going to just run a pistol, I probably would just take this brace with me, this stock with me, just in case. Brace, stock. Comment down below. Tell me what. I don't know. So I got a Glock 17 here, magazine out. Go ahead and take our slide to the rear, take our takedowns, slide off. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be punching out this pin, and then we're going to be taking out this screw, and that will take all of our front control, fire control stuff out, our trigger and all of its trigger bar and whatnot. Unfortunately, that's also going to take out our slide lock and all the other guts and stuff that go with it. We will not have to remove our mag release, although I should probably put a custom one on there eventually as well, and probably do some stuff with this eventually as well, but not today. Today we're just getting rid of that lousy, I wouldn't say lousy, it's just not custom, and it needs to be custom. We're going to be getting rid of that plastic trigger with its plasticky feeling plastic, and we're going to be replacing it with this CNC'd aluminum, or is it steel? CNC'd aluminum, yep, trigger, from Cow Cow. We're going to remove this Phillips head screw. Now that all that's been taken out, we can go ahead and pull out our trigger. Okay. Now, pin's removed, trigger's removed. Now, didn't have to take out my trigger bar, which is good. Didn't want to have to do that. I don't like having to take those. I don't like having to take these screws in and out of the plastic if I don't have to, because metal on plastic threading isn't exactly a good thing. If they were metal lined, like they were metal posts inside of it, it wouldn't be that bad. But just be careful. Don't over tighten them. Now, if we take a look at this Cow Cow trigger, it comes with the little spring we need, little grub screw, this threaded screw there, and that one. Interesting. And then it comes with 3 different colored trigger safeties. Because I want to draw attention to this being a custom build, I have to now pick which one I'm going to put on. And I'm thinking, since I'm going to have the Cyclops sight, I might go with the gold one, just to go good with the orange that's on the sight. I think that might be how I go along it. Red would be cool. Of course, black would be cool. But I might want to use those on a different gun, or just take this boring one that's in here and put the red one in it, maybe make it look better. So I think I'm gonna go with the gold. I don't know. If you're watching this, yell at you the screen and just tell me if I'm making a terrible choice. Black and gold. Black and gold. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna go with the gold trigger. Not what I thought of it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna poop. Nope. This video is important. I gotta finish this video. Okay. Now it does not have any instructions, so that means I'm on my own. All right. So I've never done any custom triggers before for Glocks or anything like that, but I'm fairly confident that this is pretty straightforward and easy enough that I can figure it out. And if I can figure it out, and I've never done it before, you can probably figure it out, and you'll probably have no trouble at all. So these, there's 2 of these threaded grub screws that are long. I'm assuming those are for locking the trigger safety in. And then there's this grub screw, which is short, which I'm assuming goes in here, and that's going to be, I'm thinking what sets the amount of take-up that you have on shooting. I'm not positive. But if you look at just the stock trigger, it doesn't have a thing for that, so I'm assuming this is what allows you to set and fine-tune it. And then this is going to be the one that goes in here, and this one's going to be the one that locks it onto your trigger bar. And you're going to need a tiny little Allen wrench for that. I will have to find one that's small enough for it. And then the spring. The spring must go in this spot right there. This tiny little circular indent, which is spring shaped. So I'm assuming the spring goes in there. To help me get it there, use these tweezers to just kind of hold it ever so gently, ever so gently. There we go. And that tiny little spring is going to be inside here of the trigger safety, in this little indent here, this little cutout. It's going to sit in there, and that's what's going to reset your trigger safety. That's my that's what I think. Anyway, I could be 100% wrong. I doubt it though. I'm pretty confident that I'm right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it. I'm going to put that little spring right in there, and I'm just going to go for it. Welcome back to Warzone Workshop. It's been a few days since we got the cow moo parts in. The flat trigger that I picked up, this thing, I was gonna put it in this Glock 17 build as a custom GAT, but I decided not to do that because I could put it into this Glock 18 GAT and have a custom Glock 18 GAT, but then I decided not to do that. Looked at all my other GATs, decided against all of it, and then I was like, you know what? There's only one GAT that I have, one Glock GAT that deserves this cow flat trigger that is being such a pain in my booty. So I put it on my Salient Arms Glock 26 build. Once you get that trigger screw set and you get it through your trigger bar, you can drop it into the pistol, get your slide rail attached, get that locked in there. Make sure you get your spring put back on. Make sure it's flat against the side here, and this side's going to go up and sit on top of it. Like always, look at everything before you take it apart. Take pictures if you've never done it before, every time you take something apart. So when you take the slide off, take a photo of that and that. When you pull this piece out, take a photo. When you take stuff out, just take a photo. Then you'll remember what order you took it out in and what it's supposed to look like when you're done. And you can get it all to go back together. Throw some gas in her. Throw some propane in her. Oh. Airsoft is an addiction. And then you get yourself your flat trigger and moo. You get that sexy cow. Now, I do have a round chambered, so now I don't. That flat trigger, I put the gold one in. I don't remember why I was putting the gold in, but it works out so good with the Salient Arms gap. But this trigger pull, I'm going to compare it to a couple other WeTech Glocks. Now, this one, the safety's removed, so just remember that. I removed the WeTech serial number safety. Now, this is a stock WeTech regular trigger for a Glock. You see it right there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull it with this. You got that safety, which turns off immediately after you touch it, because it's got just a plastic, bent piece of plastic spring. And then you got all that take up right there that's under spring tension, and then it clicks down here, and bang. And what that feels like is, now it's locked in, now it fires. It's weird. It's got a lot of take up, and then it'll get to a point where it turns off the trigger safety, and then bam. Once it gets to that wall, but that's how long it takes to get there, and it gets to that wall, and then bam. Check the 18. Same thing. A lot of take up, wall, click. Now the 34. With its wet trigger. It's wet. Now watch this. Yeah, here, let me do this professionally. You got the safety right there, which does spring back. It's got an actual spring in it. And then you got the wall, and bam. Bam. But there's still quite a bit of take-up. You got that? Look at all that. That's springiness, and it leads to a squishy feeling trigger. It's still good. It's still good trigger. But now the cow. Ready? God, this is gonna smell. Hold on, let me. It's an empty magazine. Don't worry about it. I just need something more substantial to hold on to. You got the safety in there, right? And you can turn the safety off, and it doesn't take much. See that? I put a pen spring in there just to stiffen it up. But once that safety's off, you're already at the wall. Bam. I like it. It's a very deliberate trigger press. Whereas you gotta like tighten your finger up to get that trigger to go. With this, it's just as soon as you put any pressure on that safety, it does work. Safety does work. So here, it won't go as long as you press on just the side. But if you put anything, you put any weight on that safety, and it's gone. It's right at the lip. Now you can adjust it and give it more lip, but I'm not. The take up is just the trigger safety. Once that trigger safety knows you're pressing it, bam. So cow. Let's talk about cow. With the WeTech trigger, you punch out the two little pins in there, and you can take your trigger apart. I'm sure you watched me do that in the video. But with the cow, it is hex screw, Allen wrench, tiny little hex screws, like grub screws, like They're actual screws. It's not just punch, punch, done. It's actual in there. If you can't see it, but in there, that's a hex screw. You need an Allen wrench. The smallest one I had that I use a lot is 1.5 millimeter. I never needed anything smaller than that. I don't know how. I never needed anything smaller than that. I've always needed stuff bigger than it. So then I went through and I started looking at all my my other, you know, Allen keys. And I didn't have anything. Nothing. So I took a drive down to my local hobby shop, which luckily for me, I have one. And he just so happened to not have one. And I was discouraged and I was like, dang. All right. And then he was like, nah, that's bothering me. So he starts looking, searching through his bin, trying to find an Allen wrench small enough for that Allen screw. So he kept digging, and he found one that was 0.9 millimeter. 0.9. And it fit perfectly. And I was like, what? Now, of course, this Allen wrench was so thin that it was kind of bent, which made putting it in a little wobbly, but I got it in. This trigger is never leaving this gun willingly. It will fight. But I'm happy with it. It now looks custom. It now looks professional. It now looks like it needs new sights. So, if you have any ideas for sights that you think I should put on this Saline Charms Glock 26 with a cow flat trigger, let me know in the comments down below. And like always, I'll see you next time in the war zone. Woo, cow!